One of the special collaborations that George Brown College and MEET worked on was the Future Ways of Living project. Future Ways of Living began as a partnership to facilitate the exchange of knowledge, culture, design, and ideas between Milan and Toronto, as well as between other cities and citizens from around the world. Since its beginning at Expo 2015, Future Ways of Living has focused on investigating and visualizing how emerging trends and technologies will transform the way we live in the near future. Asking questions such as, how will we live in the future? What technologies, trends, and ideas will shape it? How can we realize a global community that is smart, connected, economically prosperous, and socially responsible? How will we work together to find the right solutions to our problems? Here's a short video of the Future Ways of Living and its first two iterations. We're excited today to launch the Future Ways of Living 3 project. This third iteration is truly a global initiative that will bring city solution labs to help municipalities around the world craft holistic solutions to their most pressing challenges, both pandemic-related and beyond. Through interdisciplinary design charrettes and using design thinking systems, we'll engage with cities and communities to help examine current living, learning, and working environments through the lens of design and interprofessional problem solving to develop new and better ways to go forward. We're joined today by our consortium partners, which include MEET Digital Cultural Center, the Center for Public Research and Leadership of Columbia University, and the World Design Organization. I'd like to now welcome Andrea Clay, Director of the Center for Public Research and Leadership at Columbia University, to share with us her reasons for being part of Future Ways of Living 3.
Thanks so much, Luigi, and warm greetings to you all. My name is Andrea Clay, and I'm a Director of Legal Strategy and Policy at Columbia University's Center for Public Research and Leadership, or CPRL. It's really a pleasure to be with you all here today. In the next few minutes, I'd love to share with you a little bit about CPRL and why we are so thrilled to be partners in the Future Ways of Living 3 project. I'll start by sharing a little bit about what we do at CPEARL. CPEARL is a research and consulting center focused on education and based at Columbia University. And each year we engage an interdisciplinary group of students from business and policy to law and education schools across the country in rigorous coursework, skills training, and consulting projects. One of our aims at CPEARL is to prepare students for careers leading school systems and nonprofits that expand access to high-quality education for all students, particularly those of color, from low-income households, or who are otherwise traditionally underserved. Next slide, please. In every facet of our work, thank you, we at CPEARL believe in breaking down lines that have, traditionally impeded the preparation of professionals for leadership and public institutional change making. If we could advance one more, where we can see the lines, perfect. So the first line is between the disciplines. Effective problem solving requires access to all disciplines and also requires that members of all disciplines have the capacity to work productively and with each other. In addition to breaking down this line in its own operation, CPEARL is also a founding member of the Transforming Professional Education Collaborative, or TPEC, which is a group of innovators from various fields across the United States and Canada, working together to reimagine and reinvigorate professional education. It's actually through our work with TPEC that we met Luigi and the Future Ways of Living 3 consortium partners. The second line we seek to break down at CPEARL is between theory and practice. We don't think you can accomplish change without having good ideas, but good ideas aren't enough. They have to be tested in practice, and people have to be proficient in implementing those ideas. That's why the Future Ways of Living 3 project is an ideal methodology for us. It fosters that necessary blend between theory and experience. The third line is between faculty and students. That's another way in which we're working together to do things. CPEARL runs a student-staffed, revenue-generating research and consulting practice, and in the process of doing so, we break down the construct in which faculty are decision makers and students are only passive receptors. Instead, at CPEARL, we bring everybody together to work towards equity-oriented innovation and problem solving. And this fourth and final line we seek to break down at CPEARL is the line between practitioners and community. Breaking down this line is not a matter of mere civility and courtesy. It's not just about being nice, although being nice is good and important. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to problem solving, it's not possible to do so effectively without having and deserving the participation and the commitment of the community and the people who are most affected by and responsible for implementing change. Anything put forth in their absence is fundamentally flawed, which is one other reason we at CPEARL are so excited to engage a vast range of stakeholders in problem solving through the City Solutions Lab process in Future Ways of Living 3. Looking forward to seeing many of you there and to the rest of today's conference. Back to you, Luigi.
Thank you, Andrea. It's indeed a privilege to work with CPEARL. And I'd like to now welcome Bertrand Jerome from Montreal, who's the managing director of the World Design Organizations, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Luigi. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and with all the community launching the Future Ways of Living 3. As you will see in some of the WDO presentation, for us, this is the type of embodiment where design can really bring forward solutions to build a better world. So as we see in our mission on our next slide, our goal is to regroup the international design community and help identify ways to build a better and more sustainable world. We've been working with the international community since 1957. We've been founded by professional associations from around the world. And with time, as we see in our next slide, we've reached out to a larger community of now 185 member organizations, helping us connect with some 400,000 designers around the world. And those designers are part from many different organizations, some coming from professional association, promotional organization, but we also have a great pillar in education, and design schools are now the largest pillar within the organization. But we also have corporate members, as well as our most recent pillar, and one of the most important in the case of the Future Ways of Living initiative is the city pillar. We also have a UN consultative status since 1974, which gives us the responsibility to promote the best practice of design towards the international community. And we, yes, on one side, try to influence designers to have better sustainable design practices, but we also want to showcase how design can be a contributor to all of the international agencies and stakeholders in achieving their objectives towards sustainability. Our next slides clearly puts forward how, for us, sustainability becomes part of our mission. And we're currently facing such issues with an urgency that has rarely been seen before, whether it's on the environmental side or the social issues. And we do see design as a transversal contributor to all of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And it is part of our different programs that we put forward to help understand how we can design a better world through better design process, better multifunctional contribution, and work with the different levels of stakeholders that designers are used to working with. Our next slide presents some of the different aspect that we like to reach. Yes, we want to contribute to both emerging and industrialized countries, where we, in some cases, celebrate how design contributes to the betterment of community, and sometimes having programs like we'll see in the next slide, where, for example, with our Interdesign program running since 1971, we've worked with 45 different communities, bringing international designers to work with the local community and local design people as well, to identify solutions to local issue of global relevance. And this is part of our way to, on one side, change the practice of designers and influence them in understanding better the type of contribution they could do, bring solutions to communities to improve their quality of life, but at the same time, showcase how design can be a leverage for sustainability all around the world. And we have many different types of programs, communication activities as well. But one on which I'd like to focus now is at the city level. And we've been working as part of our World Design Capital program with many cities around the world, trying to understand better the influence design has on how the city, its service, its systems, the experience of the city itself will influence our capacity to go towards a more sustainable and a better well-being. Lastly, on this slide, I'd like to illustrate this in the sense that what we understand more than ever is that how our cities are actually design, the landscape of our cities, the type of service that are provided will influence directly the capacity our citizens have to have more sustainable, more healthier living, because you might want to provide the best public transport system that you want, but if your city isn't supporting it sufficiently in terms of density, in terms of accessibility, never will the citizens be able to benefit from what we're putting forward. So here in this exercise, there is a great opportunity of learning from different cities, different cultures, different contexts that will be addressing some of their pressing issues, whether it is on housing, mobility, health and well-being of their population. There will be a great learning from the different professions involved in that process. And for us, it is a great opportunity to showcase how designers and the design process can help those multiple stakeholders put the citizen at heart of reimagining what the future of cities should be and how develop a better well-being. Thank you very much.
Bertrand, thank you. And thank you for sharing that commitment that WDO has to improving the world through design. And now I'd like to invite Maria Grazia Mattei from NEAT to come back and say a few words about how we pull together future ways of living in the start.
Hello, I'm here. Thank you, Luigi. Just a few words. Before opening Meet Digital Culture Center in Milano, I ran Meet the Media Guru series for a decade and wanted to celebrate this milestone with a special edition with international guests, 2015. Guest ideas and vision for the next 10 years. That year, at the Milano Expo, the Canadian pavilion was absent, Luigi, do you remember? And Luigi and I took this as an opportunity to put together Milano and Toronto in collaboration to fill the void. Our goal was to create an event that would expand the work we were doing and to build upon the existing sister city partnership between Milano and Toronto. Here we are 6 years later, today, ready to launch the new series of the future ways of living, where we will continue to have a conversation around the arts, education, environment, food, education, health, housing, and security and mobility. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now that we've heard from all our partners, I'd like to invite the Future Ways of Living project leader, Caitlin Pelouse, to detail the call for invitation to the Future Ways of Living 3 to help you understand how you can get involved with this initiative.
Thank you, Luigi. Thank you all for being here. My name is Caitlin Pelouse, and I'm the manager of the Special Projects team at the Institute Without Boundaries. And we've been working on this project for a while now with all the fine folks at WDO, MEET, and CPRO, and we're excited to finally be able to share it with you. As Luigi said, I'm here today to tell you more about the project, how it will unfold, and how you can get involved. So let's dive in. As you've heard, we're calling this iteration of the Future Ways of Living series the City Solutions Lab. So what does that mean? Well, we are seeing this project as a platform for exploration on a global scale. Our hope is to create a web of connections and a coalition of people and groups from organizations, cities, and communities from all over the world, sharing knowledge and innovative thinking. We envision an ecosystem of mutual support where together we can experiment and create solutions and insights that lead to better, more livable cities for everyone. Next slide, please. To do this, the FWAL 3 team is looking to work with any organizations, cities, communities, big and small from around the world who are interested in exploring creative methodologies for tackling tricky problems. For each of these brave and forward-thinking individuals and cities, we'll create a City Solutions Lab process tailored to their specific needs. In each instance, we'll gather input and participation at the local level from stakeholders, experts, community members, local institutions, and industry partners to ensure that the work we do and the solutions we create together are truly homegrown. All this work will be supported in every instance by a network of organizations, sponsors, supporters, and experts that share our interest in helping cities thrive and grow. Every city and community the world over is unique in its people, its history, its culture, its capacities, but there are many challenges common to us all. And through the City Solutions Lab process, we'll generate ideas, innovations, and solutions that can be applied and developed at any community. Here are just a few suggestions of themes for investigation, but these are only suggestions. We want to work with cities and communities directly to learn about the issues they are tackling and to create a process to match. Next, please. And what is this process exactly? I've said process a lot. Bringing together the experiences and expertise of our 4 organizations who you've just heard from and who you, I'm sure, understand is vast and comprehensive and wonderful. We'll create and then lead each city through a series of steps tailored to that city, and depending on the outcomes required and the nature of the participants in the challenge. Each will have its own flavor, but all will follow a similar story arc. The first step will always be to work directly with the city to define a succinct problem for us to tackle together. From there, the team will work with the city to research the question, gathering precedents, best practices, cautionary tales, and expert advice. Next, we gather all the necessary players. Sorry, can you go back up one, please? Thank you. All those folks that I mentioned before, and bring them together for a series of interdisciplinary co-design engagements called charrettes, where we'll do the real work of examining the issue, understanding its impact, and imagining and then refining the possible solutions until we get to something truly tangible and implementable. And lastly, we'll communicate those findings, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. Okay, now you can go to the next slide. Thank you. But first, how will all of this work manifest? What can a city or community that engages with this process hope to come out of it with? It will depend, of course, but it could be a roadmap for future work, a framework and strategy to implement a certain solution, a list of possible collaborators, some tools for teams to employ, excuse me, ideas for good first projects to tackle, and maybe all of the above. One outcome is for sure, anyone joining the FOAL 3 family will be gaining access to a network of like-minded people and groups with lots of opportunities for sharing, learning together, and future collaborations. Next, thank you. Once all that work is done, we'll be collecting it all and sharing as widely as we can so everyone can benefit. We have plans for a series of publications, documentary TV series, yearly conferences like the one we're at today. And ultimately, we plan to gather everybody's work together for an exhibition at the 2025 World Expo. And sorry, back up, please, in Milan, which will be a fitting 10-year anniversary to the initial launch of FOAL at the 2015 World Expo. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So that's the project in a nutshell. And there are lots of ways to get involved at every level and stage of the process. And indeed, we hope that we will. Maybe you are a member or representative of a municipality or community or local group looking for new ways to tackle problems, or an organization interested in supporting grassroots change while connecting with like-minded partners or audiences, or an individual interested in contributing your time and expertise, or just wanting to be part of something new and different. We need everyone from every corner of society, from every sector of industry and thinking, policy advisors, public administrators, community activists, healthcare professionals, sustainability workers, designers, thinkers, researchers, students, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We need everyone from experts to the simply curious to bring your best ideas, and together we can create something big. Thanks. Next slide. So I hope I piqued your interest and you're eager to learn more. You can look for us online at our website, where you'll find more in-depth explanation about our process and our plans and how you can get involved. You can find us on social media, or you can attend an upcoming virtual info session. Next. We have some sessions booked in the new year, so if you'd like to learn more, meet the team, ask some questions, I encourage you to get to attend. We'll be releasing more of these dates as we move through the year, and you'll be able to check our website for info about how to register and times and dates. If you can't attend any of those or would like to speak to us more directly, please get in touch. My email's there, and we can book an exploratory session with our team and your team to talk about your needs and interests. We'd love to speak with you. Next. And that's it for me. Thank you for your time. I hope you're as excited as we are, and we look forward to hearing from you. Back to you, Luigi.
Thanks, Caitlin. We have a few minutes to take questions from the audience. Please use the chat box to ask your questions. Question from Laura Barr. Have any of the recommendations been implemented in cities? Well, I can pick up on that. From the past two future ways of living, the recommendations really were adopted. In fact, this Future Ways of Living 2, we did a preliminary master plan for the Expo site in Milan, which served as a basis for their call for proposals, and eventually a proponent won who incorporated many of the ideas that were in the original master plan that was co-created during Future Ways of Living. Bertrand, you may want to comment on how the interdesigns
Yes, thank you, Luigi. And just before the interior design, I think it was one of the aspect of the conversation we had as partners saying, yes, we want to build those charrettes to bring solutions to the table, but we also want to be able to support implementation and piloting of those concepts with the cities, because we certainly want to see that change embodied into the different cities that will be participating. And we've seen in many of the previous interdesign, and which we've had to revert online for the past 18 months as part of our World Design Challenges program, many of our organization taking those solutions and then getting the funding to be able to implement. We've also seen this through the World Design Capital program, where cities, once they engage with the design community, and once they get attention from their policymakers as well, they suddenly are able to also move forward some of the projects that they wouldn't have hoped to be able to implement. This is part of the key benefits of being part of such an initiative, is to get both the policymakers and the citizens as stakeholders of such initiative, the design process being in the middle, coordinating the different expertise needed to find the solution. But once they're presented, once they're showcased, it allows for better funding and implementation of those different initiatives.
In a sense, the events themselves leverage the system to push it and pressure it. Andrea, you must have examples of that you've done with CPERL as well, especially in the education field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, we're a research and consulting center, and so many of our partners come to us with a particular problem in mind or initiative in mind, and so we're able to help them to improve their strategies, create their strategies, facilitate workshops, lead teams through improvement cycles or improvement processes, conduct research, engaging a number of stakeholders to come out with findings and recommendations about education. So absolutely, have engaged a number of partners and are looking forward to engaging more through the Future Ways of Living 3.
Okay. Here's another question. Could I participate in charrettes if I'm not a designer or an urban planner? Caitlin, do you want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, please do so. We are looking for, like I said, everyone from everywhere. We need to bring together all areas of thought and everybody's perspectives to ensure that the work that we're doing and the solutions we're creating really are answering the needs of everybody involved. So we don't just want designers and urban planners. We want you too.
Yeah, co-creation with stakeholders is fundamental to improving things. Maria Grazia, I know that in Italy, when we had the charrette for the meat center, there was so many members of the public that came to it.
Yes. It was the last charrette. It's a very, very interesting workshop, laboratory, and many people participate. In the future, we try to design another big charrette with the municipality, and also we hope to cooperate much more in this Future Ways of Living 3.
Thank you. Here's another question. Which cities might be joining this initiative? So Maria Grazia, maybe you want to continue and talk a little bit about what Milan is going to do.
I talk about Milan. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm really excited to be here with you all, and we are excited because we're preparing the performance later with Danilo Rea and Paolo Scoppola. Many work in this moment at the meet. And so for that is it's important because I like very much this event, Phygital event. Our team is Phygital, no? And I think this format is very interesting with the friend of for the future we living tree. Is very important to cooperate with. Is just an example today, no? To cooperate in the future, to cooperate for the next future, for our city, for a better life, etc. And I'm a critical optimist about the new technology, the online service, the creativity. It's sorry for my English, not so perfect. If you like, I speak in Italian, because we have also many audience in Italy at the moment to discuss with you and with us about the future livings of tree.
Yeah, so for certain, Milan is going to be involved, Toronto is going to be involved. Yes. I think, Andrea, you're working with a city in Connecticut or a school board in Connecticut and one in Brazil. And I think, Bertrand, we're going to be approaching a number of cities that have been working with the WDO. I know that Dublin has reached out to me. So a number of places are reaching out already, but we're looking forward to working with whoever is interested. As small a city or as a big a megalopolis as we might be having to deal with. So at all scales, we want to solve problems in every scale and in every part of the world.
And if I may add, Luigi, it would be really interesting to be able to have cities from different regions of the world with different cultures and contexts, as well as cities going through different phases in the life cycle of a city. Some emerging cities that are facing growth in their population, as well as aging cities that are facing different issues, whether it's social or and that has an effect on their infrastructures as well. So we're looking for those very different contexts to be able to have as much learning as possible and as much synergies as possible as well.
Thank you. Big thank you to all of our partners who've joined us today from around the world. And we're holding information sessions in the new year. And at the end of the day, the website's going to launch with all the information where you can download everything about the process. Don't hesitate to call us. Future Ways of Living starts right this moment. And we're hoping you're all going to be part of it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Bertrand. Thank you, Kathleen.